Is there an upside in a downturn?
What will winning organisations look like in 18 months' time?
Given the credit crunch, how are we going to respond to slower markets?
What you see now is some fairly major reassessment and reconsideration going on.
The difference between a good company and a great company is a lot more marked in a tough environment.
It's about the survival of the more focused and the more thoughtful.
It's just the right time to think about how to reposition your organization to take advantage of the next strategic opportunities that open up.
One of the statistics that might be a little shocking for UK managers is that the UK has the highest incidence in Europe of consumers online adopting social media.
In today's market, online is a cost-effective way of reaching a much broader audience.
Companies have got to spend even more time, I think, in this recession thinking about online. Not just because it's more measurable, in many ways it's closer to the sales channel, but also because it's not just changing marketing, it's changing how consumers interact with companies much more fundamentally.
What to track, how often to track it, what success looks like.
Creativity is now king, not cash. Cash is hard to get hold of. When you don't have much money, you've got to be creative about how you go about doing things.
You have to just look for opportunities and whatever cash you have available, make it go a long way.
Keep innovating. Keep having an open culture where people feel that they can experiment.
I think actually a tough climate is the greatest way of sustaining innovation. It's something about the fear factor that actually helps to bring out the winning spirit.
Thank you very much for taking the time to come here today. I hope it's going to be an interesting day. Like the search engine, what we're not doing today is giving you answers. We're trying to give you quite a lot of information about what people think is going on in the online world and in the world of e-commerce, and let you figure out the answers for yourselves, because we don't know them. I'm struck that e-commerce is really 8 or 9 years old, and I'm not necessarily an expert in e-commerce, but I do have an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old boy. And I was crossing the road with them the other day, intent on trying to teach them road safety. And as we crossed the road, I said to my 8-year-old Nick, Nick, you did not look. That is very dangerous. And Nick turned to me and said, Dad, I did look. I looked at that puddle. It could be dangerous. And that's the joy of being a parent, I guess, is trying to help your children, your offspring grow and make sense of the world. And it struck me that a bit like e-commerce, which is it basically works, but it's got an awful lot more that it could do, and it could be, just like Nick, who I'm sure will learn to cross the road safely. So as we think about e-commerce, and as we think about the challenges ahead, we're struck by a couple of things. Firstly, in the UK, we spend 3 times as much per head online than our US friends do. 3 times as much per head online than the US does. So actually this is a pretty advanced place for e-commerce, and many of you are practitioners of the art of e-commerce and online sales and marketing. And probably within this room we've got the majority of the talent in the UK, I'd like to think, in this field. So there's an awful lot we can all learn from each other. Not quite sure how much we can learn from around the world. But we'll hear about some of the things we can learn from one of the leading lights of e-commerce in the US in a second. I don't know how to advance the slide, but let's just say next slide. There we go. So today, today is part of our campaign to save the abandoned shopping trolleys of the world. So here's one of them, probably in that dangerous puddle I mentioned earlier. How can we make the journey to purchase from the moment of thinking that you might be interested in something to the moment you've actually got it in your hand? How can we make that work better for people, in the online world particularly? And I guess our perspective is that there's a lot you can look at in the digital world that can help you with your whole business. Looking at the world through a digital lens can help you understand customers better across your whole business. And there are a number of areas that we see on this. Next slide, please. So, firstly, digital insights. There is a wealth of insight about consumer and competitive behaviour that we can see online. information about what people are looking for right now. The internet is effectively a huge and live focus group. So in the old world, you know, research was expensive, time-consuming, and by the time you got the results, the consumer kind of moved on. In today's world, you can see right now what people are searching for and how that's changing over time. And you can also see in an instant what your competitors are offering at what price point. So there's a huge amount of insight that's out there, and we need to figure out, as businesses and as marketeers, how do we take advantage of that insight. The second thing I'd say that we think is critical, not just understanding the insights that are available, but is actually turning those insights into action. So we go to the next slide. Now, I didn't really want this to look quite like this. The next slide is not about monkeys behind, it's about agility. Going with the animal metaphor, perhaps it's not working so well. Agility, how do you take advantage of insights and do something useful with those? And online, you can do that in an automated fashion with every piece of data that every customer or potential customer generates on your website and on the internet. So how do you take advantage of that and improve what you're doing based on that data? Now, Google, with our search results page, which is probably one of the simplest pages on the internet, we might be running between 50 and 200 experiments at any one time, trying different layouts, different formats, different hierarchies of results, different styles, to understand how consumers will best respond to those, and then using how they respond to improve what we're doing. And many retailers are doing a fair amount of this, but not everybody is really taking full advantage of the technology that can allow you to test and learn on an ongoing basis. So insights are critical. We think that agility is absolutely vital. Thirdly, if we go to the next slide, we can see efficiency. Digital can really bring efficiency. We're just at the beginning of understanding how digital and traditional media, marketing and technology can work together. But the more we work on this, the more we develop case studies and insights about how digital marketing can turbocharge all of your marketing. And how digital technology can lower your overall costs. So towards the end of the agenda, you'll see in your decks, I'm going to run through all of the agenda, but you'll see that we have some breakout groups, and a couple of those include Google Enterprise, talking about how web technology can lower your IT costs and allow you to put more effort into the things that customers care about. And also we have a discussion of AdSense, which is how you can make money from customers as they leave your website. So I think those two things can also help you to bring overall efficiency to your business. And then finally, pace. How do you put together the insights that are available on the internet, move faster to respond to those insights, bring more efficiency by combining the digital and the real, and keep up with the very rapid changes in consumer behaviour? So we've seen e-commerce really accelerating away from traditional retail. The last 3 months of last year, in the Christmas season, 31% growth in e-commerce versus a -3% change in like-for-like store sales. And as consumers and as competitors speed up, we think it's going to be a competitive advantage for those businesses who are able to move with pace, acting on those insights.